Hello, welcome to a video on how to tune your electric organ. So I just picked this organ up yesterday. I got it from a flea market for $30, and it's actually a very good deal, even though there are a couple things wrong with it. And the biggest thing is that the A key was about 50 cents flat. Now I've already fixed it, so it sounds fine now. But it used to sound very, very bad in the one particular key. So this organ that I have here, electric organs come in a couple different things. You know, you have the ones that have vacuum tubes. It could be transistor based or integrated circuit based, IC based. But all of them will, anyone that's made that's just not like a toy or anything, will have some way to tune it, because occasionally they do get out of tune. This one, I tested all the keys in it, and most of the keys are still very well in tune, so I don't know why one of them was off. But it just happens sometimes. Even if they don't go out of tune, a lot of times they do include some type of tuning mechanism. For example, digital ones should never go out of tune, ones that are completely digital. But a lot of times it still will include some type of tuning mechanism, so that if you want to play like with Baroque tuning or something, you can. That's we're not going to cover that here. This is just like, you know, if you buy an organ and one of the keys is off, then this might help you. The first thing you want to check is, for mine, I have vacuum tubes. So I looked in the manual. I found a free manual online. I'm taking the back of it off right now. I found a free manual online, and it says, well, you know, if something's not sounding right, try switching the vacuum tubes around to see if that helps you troubleshoot the issue. Because, you know, if you like switch the vacuum tube to a different note, then the problem will switch to that note. But that's not what happened. So I was kind of stuck, but then I realized that ignore all this mess here. And I realized, you know, it was the case for, they didn't, you know, vacuum tubes, a lot of times if it'll just be like one note or a couple of notes or whatever, it affected every single A note, every single A on both of the manuals and the pedals. So I'm like, maybe I can just tune it. And turns out that's exactly what you do. So, on this organ, this one's actually pretty simple. I mean, it's really clearly labeled. It doesn't tell you how to tune it because they didn't want people to tune their own organs, because it's kind of easy to mess it up, especially when this was made in 1965. Nowadays, everyone can just have a tuner app, which is what you're going to need if you're going to tune your organ in this video. But back in the day, people, you know, didn't just have those type of things. They didn't want people messing with it, so they didn't label anything in this particular organ. However, it is usually not that hard to deduce what you have. Even if you have an organ that looks completely nothing like mine, like if it has like circuits or whatever, next to, you know, you're going to have about 12 different, or you should have exactly 12 sets of basically repeated circuitry or repeated whatnot. Like in this one, there's 3 small tubes and 1 large tube. You might just have like a circuit board here and another one here and another one down there and whatnot. In your organ, and they're just repeated. And on every one of those, you should see some type of, it's called a potentiometer. It's basically just a little thing on the circuit board that has like something that looks like you could adjust it with a screwdriver. These actually adjust with an Allen wrench, is kind of common on some organs. Just something like that, where it'll have a little adjustment, and it may or may not be labeled at all. If it is, good for you. If it's not, then it's not. But I'll actually show you this stuff here. I was kind of looking at this first off, and I'm like, yeah, I don't think I can service this. But it's not necessary. If you see all this type of stuff, you know, most of this stuff, it's non-adjustable. You know, it's just not adjustable. So you're gonna want to look, and this would be even like a harder example of this, for stuff like, oh, it's not showing up in the light, but for this, you can actually adjust inside of one of those. That would be most of the time, especially if you have a newer organ, or if your organ looks exactly like mine, then I just kind of did the work for you. Trying to figure out what you're going to adjust here is probably not going to be that hard if you just, you know, sit down and think about it logically. You know, there's only going to be one probably only one thing on the board that you could even adjust with like a screwdriver without, you know, messing up the component at all. So it should be relatively obvious once you just sit down and think about it. That being said, what you do is you just take a screwdriver and adjust it. So for this one, you need to use an Allen wrench, and these things really should not take hardly any force. They take, you know, they have a little bit of stick to them, so it's not like nothing, you know. But it should take like no actual force. So especially for like an Allen wrench, you can just find something that fits in here. This is for the A sharp, which I'm not going to adjust because the A sharp's already in tune, I think. And I just turn this one way or the other. What I would recommend, no matter what your original tuning situation is to just go an eighth of a turn in one, either clockwise or counterclockwise, it doesn't matter. What you want to do is, before you do that, start figure out what you are out of tune. You might be like 30 cents sharp, and then turn it an eighth of a turn. Let's say you turn it eighth of a turn clockwise, and now you're 50 cents sharp. So now you know that an eighth of a turn will make you 20 cents. Eighth of a turn clockwise will make you 20 cents sharp. So let's say if you're already 30 cents sharp, then you need to know you need to turn 1.5 times that amount in the opposite direction, or actually you're 50 cents sharp after you've done that. So you need to turn 2.5 times that amount in the opposite direction. So you need to make, you know, just to start out, about a 5/16 of a turn in the opposite direction, counterclockwise. And then you should get about there, and then you can just kind of, you know, get it close from there. That's a bit of technique. If you don't understand what I just said, then just turn it in a direction and just you'll figure it out. You know, it's you can only turn it one of two ways, and if it gets worse, then turn it the other way. You know, that's basically it. And then you eventually you'll get it right. I'm not going to show you that in action, mainly because it's really difficult. On my organ, because I have to put the back panel back on, then turn the organ back on, and then try it out, and then what I did at the beginning of this video, take the panel back off and readjust this here. And I have to do that over and over again if I want to fine-tune my tuning. So I'm not going to actually show you how to tune it, but it's you know, you stick a thing in, or you put your screwdriver on the little screwdriver thing, and you turn it one way or the other. I mean, it's that's as simple as it is. So, and then the only other thing is, like, you just turn your organ back on, wait for it to warm up if your organ needs to warm up, and just, you know, press your note and compare it to your tuner. And if they're right, then they're right. So yeah, I hope this video was helpful. It's kind of long, I'm sorry, but there's sometimes there's a lot of stuff going on, and you know, I hope it wasn't too confusing. But anyways, thanks for watching. If you have a question or comment, leave it down there in the comment section. Yeah, thanks. See you later.